Hey gang, welcome back to another episode of the Darkhorse Dental Success Pod. This week, I have another startup doc backed by popular demand. This time we have Dr. Frank from Mint Kisco Dental. He actually reached out to me originally back in October of 2018. I had to go back and do a double take because he and I have been hatching this plan, the IT for his office for so long. But it's open. His office is stunning, so maybe he'll give us a tour because we got him on video today, because it's an unbelievable office. And I wanted to start right before I turn it over to Frank. I went online and he already has 45-star reviews, and I just wanted to read this one because I thought it was so amazing. So I brought my son to Dr. Bottino after a terrible experience with a pediatric dentist. He was able to see us right away and was able to successfully do a procedure on my son and made it the most positive experience ever. I can't say enough great things. He has a wonderful way with children and adults. He even checked in later that evening to see how he was doing. He has excellent bedside manner. The office is so cutting edge and beautiful. The staff are super friendly, and I am happy to have found the right dentist for our entire family. Holy cow. That's a great review. I bottle that up. I'm sure you still feel good about that one. Frank, yeah. I'll turn it over to you.
Hey, so do you remember, did I tell you where I first found out about you?
Okay, now I can't remember.
Okay, so several years ago, I started listening to tons of podcasts, and mostly Howard Ferran, the Dental Uncensored podcast. So I was obsessed with that, and I heard you do your thing, and that's where I first heard about you. And then around that time, I was thinking about doing my own thing, going and starting my own office, and I'm like, man, this is my guy. So when the time comes, I'm going to be reaching out to you. And I even reached out to you around that time. Yeah, I reached out to you then, and we started kind of talking. This is before I even had a space or any of that. So and then actually at that time you connected me to the Facebook group sites
oh yeah, I remember doing that. I was like, you got to go on Nifty Thrifty, you got to go on Making a Dental Startup and just ask unabashedly, ask everything you got.
Yes. So I didn't contribute a whole lot to those groups, but I was lurking, and I still do it pretty much every night I go on those sites. And man, that has been the hugest resource. So thank you again for that. That's because before that I was doing a lot on Dental Town, and that was they had a lot of good threads, and I read through so many things on that. But yeah, that's kind of where it all started. But yeah, let me tell you my history from the beginning. So I went to college in DC. I went to George Washington, and I studied business. I was a business major. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So I thought business would give me a well-rounded education to anything I could get started in. So then in college, I joined the rowing team, the crew team. So I rowed crew. I had no idea what the sport was until I walked onto the team, and I tried out for the team. There was 100 guys trying out. I was the smallest, shortest guy in the room, trying out, but I looked around that room and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be the best here. I'm going to kick butt. And, so I stuck with the team for all 4 years. After my first year, I started getting a lot of scholarship money. And by the time I was a senior, I got a full ride to college through my rowing. And that was my primary thing in college. I was, obsessed with the team. And so my grades sunk. My grades were terrible. And at this time, dental school was not even in my mind. So I graduated college, and I went out to California, and I coached a rowing team out there. And at the time I became obsessed with cycling. I'm a big bike rider, the full on spandex.
Yeah, and, rowing, cycling, same thing, keeping yourself entertained for long periods of time, repetitive motion. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I was doing that, and I was getting really good at it. I was real fast. I was winning races, and the dream was actually to go pro with my cycling career. And It was like a long shot, but that was like the dream at the time. But anyway, yeah, I would be on my bike like 6 hours a day. It was awesome, but it was kind of like a lonely place to be, you know, by myself on the bike like 6 hours a day. I mean, I would do a lot of training with the team, but a lot of it was by myself. But anyway, yeah, I was out for a bike ride one day, and I got hit by a car, right? And it wasn't like a hard hit, but it was like it was an awkward fall. So I like fell on my face, and I got my teeth busted out. So yeah, my four front teeth were just jacked up. And so anyway, like I went to the hospital, and then I got connected to a dentist, and the dentist fixed me up. And he at the time, like, I didn't know my teeth were fixable. I thought I was going to walk around the rest of my life like toothless. I didn't know. So like, I hated going to the dentist growing up. I was the kid who always had cavities. I hated the dentist. But this was like the time, like, so I went to the dentist, like, because I had to get my teeth fixed up. I didn't know they could be fixed up, but yeah, I was fixed up. And that whole situation just like inspired me to it made me realize like the power of dentistry, that dentistry is so impactful, and it can change lives. So it inspired me. So I went back to take all the science prereqs to get into school.
And
it was hard. Yeah. So it was like, so when I decided like dentistry is like what I'm doing, like I was all in 100% like committed, and I was going to do like whatever it took to get into school. So I went back, I got my grades up, finally I got good scores on the DATs, and I got accepted to a school. And I'm like, you know, so even though my grades were terrible in college, I was able to like weasel myself in. And then when I got accepted, you know, I was in a class of like 100 students, and I looked around, and I'm like, I'm going to be the best, like here, like there's nothing stopping me. So yeah, like dental school was like super successful. Like, I made the most of it, and I graduated like the top of my class. Cause I wanted just to be like that good. So that's like my whole journey through, like, you know, why I became a dentist.
It's such an interesting, because there's a lot of things that touch on there. There's I'm just so blown away by your mental willpower, because that's something like I have in like spurts, but like the sustained, like for example, like I played both college baseball and college hockey. But I was always the guy that just like, I wouldn't go to the gym, right? I wouldn't run, I wouldn't lift weights. I would just get by on what I had, right? But I didn't have that, like, you know, that edge that you had. I have it in business where, you know, I just want to like murder my competition, you know, and I'll work my tail off to do that. But it wasn't for me in sports. Like, I still have to do mental tricks to get on to go for a run, or to trick myself to do it. But it's really amazing to hear your story about dentistry. You know, you have a lot of people that, you know, well, I did this because, you know, my dad or my mom is a dentist, my uncle was a dentist, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. But like you have the background of, you know, I know what it's like to be a patient, to feel that anxiety. I know what it's like to go through major trauma and think I'm never going to look right again, right? And then come out the other side, and then to just ramp back up and take organic biochemistry. Like, I have a biochemistry degree, so I know how terrible these classes are. Again, that is just, you've been through a lot. It's amazing that you're still in one piece. And then you decided to open a startup, which might have been the hardest thing of everything we're talking about. So it's not surprising that you decided to open a startup, because you are a pretty impressive human being. But like, how did you come to where were you working before?
So
how did you get here?
So I graduated in 2010. And at that time, like, my whole focus was like, how could I be the best dentist possible? So I just went to work, you know, and I first started at like a DSO in New Jersey. And I just was seeing tons of patients, like getting all the reps in, and just like pushing all my limits. And I focused on just like being a dentist, and I never like really, becoming like a practice owner seemed like it would interfere with my ability to be like to focus on dentistry. So I just wanted a job. I just wanted to work. I never like thought about really opening my own thing. So yeah, I worked at a DSO for a couple of years. Then I eventually got married. I had kids, and then I moved back to like my hometown in like Westchester, New York. And I found myself, I worked at this private practice for 5 years. And I was actually the only dentist there. Was owned by another dentist. And, he hired me just to sort of man the office. It was a small office. And it was bought from a dentist who passed away. So I started there by myself, taking over from a dentist who passed away. And, the goal from the beginning was to like retain all those patients. And so I did that. Like I retained like so many of those patients. And then the word got around the community that like, hey, I was pretty good and I treated people well. And like, I was honest. So we grew like crazy. So, and since I was the only dentist there, I started thinking to myself, man, like I could just totally do this on my own. I don't need to, so the dentistry eventually like became a lot easier. And I'm like, I got to take this to the next level. I want my own thing where,
So was there a moment in time in which you just like woke up one day and you're like, well, I guess I'm running a practice for this other guy. I guess I'm not just an associate anymore. Like I'm pretty much running the show. Why not me?
No, it was probably like at that time I was listening to a lot of podcasts, and Howard Ferrand was like always like, he was just so inspiring because I think it was him. He like inspired me to really think about these things. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. So I started like looking at dental town threads and stuff like that. And I was like, I was looking at different spaces, different locations. And then like, it was suggested to go take Breakaway. So I did that. And I learned so much there. And just one thing led to another. And it was a process. So like, I'm the kind of person that will really like do my homework and just like analyze everything. And that kind of gets in the way of things. It slows me down. But I want to make decisions like on myself, like, so I don't look back with any regrets. So the location's got to be perfect, and everything, the space has got to be perfect. Everything's like got to be like 100%. So it takes time to, so it just took me a lot of time because I want it to be the best it can be. And that's like it's like a double-edged sword. It like slows me down. But when I look back, I'm like, that now that I have my own office, I step into it every day and I'm like, this is perfect. Like no regrets.
It's a badass office. Now, I'll take there's a compliment in there, but you thoroughly vetted me. So I will take that as a compliment. Thank you. It's funny because I am not like that. I am the need to make a decision quick, right or wrong, because if it's a wrong decision, I'll make another quick decision and fix it. It's the planning side is something that I've tried to get better at over time. But if you can do it while you're at a startup, I mean, your business must be in pretty good shape, because sometimes it's just like your staff comes to you with something and you just gotta, that strategic planning, you just gotta put it to the side and A or B, right? And it's usually not A or B in reality. I don't know if you ever heard the concept of the false duality, where you can only see A or B, but it's really A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? There are so many other decisions, you just haven't thought of them yet. So, I mean, I'm just blown away that you're able to bring that in, especially to a startup and still push forward like that and keep your sanity, right?
Yeah.
It can just pile up in the
Yeah.
background. So maybe it's a good your office is, I've said this multiple times, a beautiful office. It's probably one of the highest viewed posts we've ever done. I think it is the highest viewed post we've ever done.
That's
So
crazy.
people universally love your office. So while we got you on here, I don't know if you could give us, I'll try to be kind to our audio only listeners here. Give us a nice little tour of the office.
All right. So let me spin you around. So anyway, like I'm not the designing an office. So I took Breakaway. I learned so much from there, and I was on the Facebook sites. And I'm not like, when it comes to like design and like decoration, like I'm not a pro on that. I was just inspired by so many like other people on that. So I took everything that I knew, and I basically like copied what I saw like on the Facebook sites.
It's the most beautiful mashup I've ever seen.
Okay. So yeah, here's the entryway, like little beverage station.
So you'll notice there's spindrift, and they're organized by color. So for all you OCD people out there, that it looks and feels wonderful.
Yeah, let me turn on the lights. So
nice Starbucks style, like iPad bar in the front area, glass. Didn't go too small in the waiting room TV. Like I've actually never seen a TV be too big. So tip out there for startups, just buy a bigger TV. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So this is like the kids' room. We have like a little floor projector. It's not on right now. But like I put that up there myself. Nice. I got to organize those wires. But yeah, I mean, all these concepts were like Breakaway style. Like the prize wall, the kids' prize wall.
Beautiful.
My reception. So here's the consultation room.
Yeah, love the glass.
The glass in consultation room. So like Mint Kisco Dentistry. So like I got the name, Mint kept coming up on like the Facebook groups or Dental Town. It was I think it was Trent McCord that started that office, Mint Dental Care, and that logo, that name was like so catchy. So I kind of took that and like made it my own, and like Mint is like an acronym for the core values of my practice. I don't know if you could read that.
Yes, like meticulous, integrity, nurture, transform.
Yes, bathroom, and then I found this office, Perch Dentistry.
They're a client of ours.
So I copied their like oak wood slat walls.
See, lesson, guys, when you post something on Facebook, someone else might take your ideas, just so you know. And so they might do a better job. You never know.
I don't know. It just made the whole design thing easy, because I actually designed everything, the floor plan, the layout. Here's like my sterilization, the tip out bins.
Oh, you got to have the tip out bins.
Yeah. Just open inventory, like everything that Breakaway talks about.
Yeah. But, the treatment rooms are great. So you got the 2 12 o'clock monitors, you got the 6 o'clock patient monitor, and obviously the entertainment TV up there.
Yeah.
And those are those 43s?
I don't know. I mean, the cloud, the Breakaway cloud, this panel thing is 36 inches wide. So whatever that is, it fits perfect.
Yeah, I think that's a 42 or 43 inch TV. It looked really nice.
Yeah. And then, so we got a total of 5 ops. It goes all the way down. These are not occupied, just clutter, break room in the back, another bathroom. But yeah, like I just, I think, there's that saying, success leaves behind clues. So like even my logo, when I was like designing my logo, the color of my logo, the green color is actually that like what Apple uses on those icons. And I think Spotify uses that same green color too. So from the color, like I'm like, hey, if Apple or Spotify uses that green color, that must be like psychologically like a good color choice.
Yeah, because they've done a lot of, those, what do you call those test groups, that use for TV shows.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I just, I took everything over the years and I took my time and looking at so many posts and so many pictures and all, like everything I could. And I just kind of made it my own.
This is the Facebook group's dental office.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. No, well, when I left Benco to start this company, my wife was working at a commercial fitness company. They did service contracts, so I took some language from theirs, right? Took some of what Benco was doing. So I mean, I did the same thing you did, right? I took all the elements that I saw as working, and that was my launch. And now what I didn't have I had a Prius and a laptop. That was my startup.
Yeah.
I needed to get around New York State and I needed to remote into computers. So I think, you're talking about resources that you relied on, obviously the Facebook groups, you mentioned Dental Town, you mentioned podcasts. Are there any other, books or colleagues that you leaned on to help get this practice open?
Man, just so many podcasts. Yeah, Howard Ferrand, the shared practices, bulletproof dental practice, or whatever it is. That is the like hands down, like amazing. Just so many podcasts. Like I try and read as much as I can, but like I'm not much of a reader. Like I'll try and read before bed, and it usually makes me fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's hard. So it's mostly like podcasts. Breakaway was huge. But yeah, just like looking back, so the most valuable lesson I learned in college was through rowing. Like I learned that like if you want something bad enough, you could get it. Like nothing's off the table when you want something bad enough. You could just push those limits. And that's what like rowing was about. Like every day, just like pushing it to the max. And you realize that like the only limits you have are like your own like limits that you put on yourself, and you just got to push past those.
Narratives are really powerful. We this is something I learned from my father. Like you tell yourself a story. He took this like class called Landmark Forum. Used to be called EST and stuff like that, and they call it a racket. Right. You tell yourself a story and it's a naturally limiting thing, or someone else tells a story about you and you kind of regurgitate that internally. And yeah, those are soft barriers. They're I mean, it's amazing what human beings are capable of if you get yourself in the right frame of mind and you pretty much ignore everyone else and what they say about you and what you're capable of.
Yeah. So my location, let me just show you outside. So I'm like right next to I'm in a shopping center. There's a big supermarket, a Stop and Shop, and behind that is a Target. So I'm in like an amazing location. And when I was doing the demographics of this location, the demographics were terrible for a startup. It was like for one dentist, it was like 1,500 people. It was like, so on paper, it was not good at all. But I was like, this is my hometown and this is like where I want to be. And it turns out like all those dentists in this area are like older dentists. They have like these small little offices. No one has this like retail setting like I do. And
they're in like an old crusty house, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
terrible.
That's upstate New York for you. It's just like we ran out of space. So it was like I lived up when my dad opened his practice in downtown Ithaca. We lived like in the upstairs apartment. It was like a 1890 original construction. It was like a hotel, and then so like your practice stands out, especially to the typical upstate New York variety of dental office.
Yeah, like because there's like formulas that people get so stuck on like these sites, the dentist to population ratio, and and it helps, but like if you like I keep saying, like if you want something bad enough, you could just make it happen. Hey, are you still there?
Yeah, you just came back.
But anyway, so I started in this like super saturated town, and my location is awesome. I don't do much marketing at all. Like I haven't done anything, like zero. I kind of consider my location, like my marketing. I got like the biggest sign in town, and I'm paying a lot of rent. So my rent is like my marketing. So
Sure.
like
Location, location,
exactly. Right? So this is like my 3rd month open, and I was like looking at my new patient numbers. So this month alone, like 65 new patients.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. Like in a town that's supposed to be saturated with dentists.
What's that, like 3 a business day?
I don't know.
4?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been good. So because I looked around at so many other locations, and with way better demographics, and nothing sort of like I wasn't really drawn to any of those locations like I was this one.
Well, and you knew this market. Obviously, you'd worked in it. You grew up there. So, I mean, maybe the advice that somebody can take away from this is, there's the demographics, and maybe you lean on that a little bit harder if it's like you live in New York and you're going to relocate to Austin, Texas, right? And you've never been there before, and you have to rely on that. But you had the inside baseball on this ahead of time, and you had the passion and the hometown guy. And so it's like, screw the it's almost like when you showed up to the tryouts for rowing, you're just like, well, screw it. I'm the smallest guy, and I'm just going to do it anyway.
Yes.
So on the topic of advice, I am launching our first ever segment here. We don't have a sponsor for it yet, but if you would like to be a sponsor, please. This is called Dental Life Advice. So at the end of every podcast episode, my intention is to ask our guest their opinion on another dentist problem, and that dentist is anonymous to protect the innocent. So here goes the question. Frank, I am a fairly new business owner and finally getting around to hiring an office manager, and she's looking for a higher hourly wage than I was intending to offer. I told her I'd be willing to incentivize her to make some additional money. I was hoping to get some suggestions on things I can incentivize her on, her KPIs. Please pass on this information to the rest of the group listeners so I can get some idea. Thanks for your help.
Good. Yeah. So I had a similar situation. The receptionist that I hired, she wanted to start out at a higher wage than I was planning on. So what I told her was, okay, let's do this. Let's start you at what I want to start you at. And we'll do a 30, 60, 90-day review. So every 30 days, we'll sit down and review what she's doing well and what she needs improvement on. And so that's what we're doing now. And we're approaching that 90-day. So I started her off like where I thought, like where it fit my budget. And we've been sitting down like every month and going over things, and she's doing well. So I kind of came up with some checklists that we go over, and so I would say, have a plan, like a 30, 60, 90 day. So that's a kind of like it's kind of like a short enough time, but a long enough time to give you ways to like, get to know each other and strategize, like how, because like the goal is to make that person you hire, bring value to the office. I told my girl that, hey, I want to pay you exactly what you're worth. And if you're worth what you think you're worth, I want you to be there, because my job is to, pay you what you're worth and make you happy. I want you to be happy. So if you could do what you're supposed to be doing and, check off all the boxes on the list, there's no reason why you can't make what you want to make.
So clear and open and constant communication. You have a plan in place. This is, you're a wonderful human being, and I can pay you this because this is what you're doing now. However, if you can do all of these other things, I have no problem giving you that. And if that person is, capable and willing to do that, that's going to be a long-term successful team member for you. So that's some really great advice. Frank, you're a busy dude. I appreciate you coming on. This is great. You have an amazing story, a beautiful practice. We're all rooting for you, and we are not surprised that you're successful. So
thank you.
Can't thank you enough for coming on, and there's just value all over the place on this one, guys.
Ruben, thank you for being there for me from the beginning. Thank you And listen, I think the reason why I chose you and your company is because of your passion for what you do. I did look at other options for IT, but I'm like, you know what? This guy just really cares about what he does. And that's kind of like what I do as a dentist. My patients know that I care so much about them. And then they go on, write these reviews, and they come back and they send their family, their friends. That's how you grow a business, by really caring. So
you're never going to get 100% of the patients, and you're never going to get 100% of the, dentist's IT clients, but they're going to leave every single interaction with both of us being like, well, that guy gives a flying what about everything. Yes. So he's a very passionate human being.
Yes.
And that will help us sleep at night.
Yes, Ruben, thank you so much.
Awesome. Take care, Frank.
All right, brother. Bye.
Bye.